Jim Harbaugh Day, baby. Welcome to episode number 3. Same shit, different day. Introductory press conference for Jim Harbaugh. That's going on today at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And normalize first names on your jerseys.
Yeah, that's not going to work for all of us. But when you have a name like Schick, I don't even think people call me by my first name in real life.
Yeah, no, we call you Metzger or
I don't think
Guero.
I don't think Guero on the back of a jersey that might give me some
boom. Normalize your nickname on. Well, I guess that's already normal.
That would probably draw some attention that I would like too. So I think that's a good idea.
Hey, Guero. Hey, wait. Dude, you should get that. All right, anyways, guys, welcome to episode 3. Had to just show off real quick my Chargers gear because we got Jim Harbaugh, baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You guys got Mike McDaniels, Mike McDonald from the Ravens, which we'll get into here in a bit. But before we even do that, the listeners, man, they want to update. Justin, what's the update on your Tinder date?
Yeah. It's
no touchdown yet.
No, we're definitely probably under review right now. There might have been some penalties committed that are under review. The refs are beating, and we'll.
Was it by the defense or the offense? Offense being you.
I was on the defense actually. Okay. It was on the defense. Yeah. The offense did their part, but the defense committed some penalties. But we might pick up the flag. We might pick up the flag and give her a second chance. She had some good reasoning, but stay tuned.
All right, stay tuned. All right, hopefully by episode 4 we'll have an update and either you turn the ball over or got the touchdown. We're rooting for you, pal.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, man. Let's get into it. So yeah, Jim Harbaugh, man. Like I said, I'm excited. Charger fans are excited. He's got his press conference here shortly, and probably in the next hour. So we'll go ahead and I'll give my my review about the presser for next week's episode, but we're excited, man. We finally got a good coach. Everybody says Dean Stanos is cheap, but my man, he done how do you say cleared all the rumors now, man, or whatever. Well, I don't even know, man. I'm too excited to even think, but he ain't cheap no more is what I'm trying to say. Damn it. 16
million a year.
That's word around the sewing circle. Yeah. And 16 mil, we were taking the defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, or I forgot his name, but from Michigan as well. But the most important, I think, hire besides Jim is the strength and conditioning coach, Ben Herbert, baby. He's a big reason, bro. I think I was listening to the Pat McAfee show, and JJ Watt said something about like they had 144 players on the Michigan team. And besides one person breaking their leg and one other person being out for the year, 142 of the athletes were healthy for the championship game.
And injuries have been a problem for you guys.
Well,
so that's got to be almost as exciting as Jim coming over. So I mean, it does make a big difference. I mean, teams that don't have injuries, and you hear these stats sometimes of teams that have their O-line stay one unit together all year. Yep. And it's a huge difference by the end of the season, especially at that position, them working together. And if you're constantly changing players out, it's going to be hard to have a good run.
Yeah. And I mean, a little bit about Jim's resume, though. I mean, he was at Stanford when he took over a Stanford team that was 1-12. And in 4 years, he got them to 12-1. When he went to the Niners, he took them to a Super Bowl with Cap. And I think he did that within the 3 or 4 year span that he was there. And then he had beef with the GM? I forgot his name. Balky, I think it was. Yeah. And so they fired Jim instead of Balky, which was a mistake. But it ended up working out because he went back to his alma mater, Michigan, where he took a not so great Michigan team. And within 9 years, this season, unfortunately, beat the Dogs. I'm a fan of the Huskies because my sister, is a UW Husky. And I know you're a big Husky fan.
He's got his revenge on the Pacific Northwest for sure.
Pete, bro, you see how Pete was trying to sneak in for the Charger job too, right at the very end, bro? That beef that beef is real.
They got beef for sure. That's how you knew Jim was never even mentioned for the Seahawks because he was never, and it would be disrespectful to Pete Carroll to bring him in anyway. So even though I think he's a great coach, he was not going to be a good fit for the Seahawks. So,
but I mean, he won the Natty with Michigan. So congrats to them and congrats to the Dogs for the amazing record and season that they had. And unfortunately they lost, but we got Jim, baby. That's what we're pumped up about. And recently too, we just hired the Ravens. He was part of the Ravens team, Joe Ortiz. He is now a first-time GM he's a first-time GM, but he's our GM now for the Chargers. And he worked with the Ravens for the past 2 decades. In the last 5 years, he was the director of player personnel. And we know that the Ravens know how to draft. So I'm pretty pumped up. I'm more excited too because he actually moves up and down the draft. He's not scared to, give up picks. He's not scared to get picks. That's one thing that, Tom never really did, in his 11 years with the Chargers. So I like the aggressiveness that he had with the Ravens. So I'm hoping he brings that to the Chargers because it'd be good with the 5th overall pick. I wouldn't mind going down to 9 or 10, getting a couple more draft picks, especially with the cap situation that the Chargers are in. Let's build through the draft and let's be aggressive.
Yeah, Ravens got plundered, didn't they? They're getting plundered. That's what happens when you have a good year, man. People come for your staff, for your coaches.
John's calling his dad like, "Hey, Dad, my brother's at it again. He's stealing all my coaching staff and my toys." But anyways, man. So one thing I want to bring up too, just before we get into the Hawks, is Chargers. Unfortunately, we're 5-12, and seven out of those 12 losses were by 3 points or less. So if we had Jim as coach, I'm thinking at least 5 of those 7s would have been a win. It depends on how you see it, but
we'll see. Do you think they really counteract charging it? I mean, I don't know.
That sounds Jim's bro. All he does is win.
Which power?
All we do is win, no matter what. Woo!
I mean, you can make an argument that charging it can outperform any coach. Like,
we'll
I don't know if you can out coach charging it. It's just it's kind of just a thing.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. You're right about that. Anyways, but if my theory is correct, and 5 of those 7 losses that were by 3 points or less were turned into dubs, that means the Chargers are going to be at least a 10-win team next season, boy.
I just can't. I know you're on cloud 9 right now, so I gotta bring you back to earth a little bit with some Chargers jabs.
Yeah, and we got a little ongoing joke in our fantasy group that Schick and the Chargers are known for the off-season champions, and this is what 8-time reigning champion, baby. This is a real win. This is a real off-season win. All right,
this time's gonna be different. This is our year. This is our year. They win the offseason every year. I love it. I love it for you guys.
Yeah.
You won the offseason again already. But you know what? And it hasn't even started yet.
Okay, look at Peyton Manning was nothing but a regular season winning QB until he won 2. All right. So it's possible.
Oops. He won one. He won one with Indy.
Yeah, but he won 2 overall. One with Broncos.
Yeah.
Boo, the Broncos. But cool, man. But yeah, Spanos ain't cheap no more. And actually, we had to pay. Well, not we, but Spanos had to pay for to buy out the contracts too for, I believe, Jim and Jesse as well, because I think they're still under contract with Michigan. So he's cashing out the dough, man. He's doing it. But let's go ahead and talk about your coach, bro. You got a new coach recently.
We did. Kind of a late mover, I feel like, on as far as like what everybody was expecting. Mm-hmm. Apparently Ben Johnson was in the running up till the end, but just nobody wanted to pay his asking price. The guy kind of sounds like he wanted to stay with the Lions. So he put that asking price up real high. Rumors are $15 million. And both the Commanders and Seahawks said no to paying a first-time coach $15 million. So we got Mike McDonald. Dan Quinn ended up going to the Commanders after 3 seasons with the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. McDonald was the Ravens DC, and he had the Ravens ranked in the top 5 overall defense. He actually took in 2021, before he came in, the Ravens were 23.1 points per game. He took that down to 18.5 in 2022 and 16.5 points per game given up this season. So
he's got a good resume.
Pretty quick impact and steady. I mean, 16.5 points a game is no joke. And the Hawks got a loaded young defense. We got some bloated contracts that we can get rid of over the offseason. So I'm really hoping he can reset our defense and just use the talent that's already in place. You know, we got a lot of good young DBs. We got a couple young guys along the D line that he can hopefully coach up, and we'll see. It's defensive minded again for the Seahawks, but that's what's worked. That's what's worked for us.
Yeah. Now, I know you mentioned that there was a rumor saying that Ben priced himself out. He was rumor, word around the sewing circle is that he was asking for $15 million a year, and that's crazy for a first-time head coach, especially since we're paying roughly, $60 million for Jim. But I think there's a tweet, and I'll put it up. But there's a tweet saying that the reason why Ben Johnson was asking for $15 million is because the only job that he wanted was the Chargers job. So if that's true, and he just priced himself out, because if a team was going to pay him $15 million, he'd take it, right? I would do the same thing. But if he didn't really want those jobs, why would he, go for asking price for a first-time head coach if the Chargers job was the only job he wanted? You know what I'm saying? So I think he was kind of playing that Jedi mind trick and hoping that there's going to be a team out there that would pay him that $15 million. But his plan was always to stay with the Lions after Jim got the job. So
maybe. Your theory is possible, or the asking price could have been $15 million for the Chargers as well. So yeah, I guess I guess unless somebody's got some insider sources, it'd be interesting. I mean, the Chargers job was attractive. Who wouldn't want to coach Justin Herbert, especially
that's if you're all this Herbert hate, bro, from some people, man. It's crazy.
I'm a Chargers hater, but I'm definitely not a Herbert hater. I'm a big fan. I'd love to see him succeed. He has not had good coordinators, in my opinion,
or coaching, man,
or just or coaches also. I mean, this is the real test, though. I mean, if Jim Harbaugh can't turn things around, for the Chargers, I mean, it's time to blow up everything. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's for sure. You got to start over, and you got to look at even letting Herbert go. I mean, he's got a new contract, and if he can't, give him 3, 4, 5 years, and if it's looking the same for y'all, it's time. I think it'd be at that point time to move on from Herbert, but that's probably not what's gonna happen. No. So
yeah, and then the surprising move that came out today, and today is the 1st of February, Thursday. Dan Quinn to the Commanders.
Yeah, as mentioned, I that's who I was expecting.
He went to the wrong Washington.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to know if it was a choice by the Hawks, if they chose Mike McDonald over Dan Quinn, or if I haven't heard much in that category. I don't know if you have, but I'd be interested to know if the coaches had more of an effect on that, or if it was the team, like Seahawks chose first, Commanders got what was left. I don't know. It'll probably come out at some point. But I kind of think that Quinn would have come to Seattle if they wanted him.
You know what didn't help his case with you guys, I think, is the whole debacle in the Super Bowl with the Falcons, and then the way that he played that he called the defensive plays when the Cowboys got spanked by the Packers, man. There's a lot of rumors saying that he played a lot of man, and in that game he decided to go zone, or vice versa. But it wasn't, what he was doing all season to get, all those turnovers. But again, the Cowboys weren't really that good against, over 500 teams, and they finally played a good team in the playoffs. So
they've produced the most turnovers in the last 3 years. So, I mean, he's as good, but their total defense numbers are a little more shaky for sure.
And then, and besides that, I do want to give one shout out to the Panthers for hiring Dave Canales. He's the only active Hispanic head coach in the league right now, man. So Viva Mexico. He is Mexican American. So that's a big ups to my peeps. But Dave Canales is also a first-time head coach, and we all know how David Tepper is. So good luck, brother. Track records with David Tepper doesn't seem like you're going to succeed, but we're all rooting for you.
I'll say a prayer to that man going to the Panthers.
I know, right? Man, I got a question for you, Justin.
Let's go.
I like how you're like, nobody calls me Justin. That's all I've been calling you today. I got a question for you, bro. Pete and Bill. Bill only got one interview, bro, and that was at the Falcons, man. Pete, I don't think he got any interviews, even though he was trying to sneak his way into the Charger gig. But you think it's an overreaction that they may never play in the NFL again?
I do not think it's an overreaction. I don't think either of them will coach again. I think it's possible with Belichick, but I would be very surprised if we see Pete in the NFL again. I mean, there's a movement towards younger coaches.
Yeah.
Seahawks, I mean, Mike McDonald is younger than me. He's 36 years old. He is a young man. We neither of us are spring chickens, but the fact that there's coaches in the NFL younger than me is just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Sometime these guys they're coming through these systems in a completely different way than coaches used to, and the way they develop their defenses or their offenses is just completely different. And if you're not revolutionary anymore, if you're not bringing something new to the table, people don't want the same thing that we've been seeing in the NFL for a long time. And I don't think Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick are bringing anything new that's going to be game changing. People know exactly what to expect from them, and teams, especially not good teams, they're not looking for more of the same. They want young hires that are going to come in and change things.
Yeah. Well, I think if they don't get a job by the next offseason, they're for sure not going to coach in the NFL, at least as a head coach. Who
do you think's more likely to come back? How about that?
Bill. I think Bill Belichick. Yeah.
I think we are in agreement on that one.
Even though I love me some Pete, bro, and he has that younger mentality and attitude, I feel too. So, I mean, if you're going to hire an older coach who kind of acts a little younger, it'd be Pete, but Bill Belichick's resume, I think speaks for itself.
Pete needs to get into a front office. I mean, I hope he really does stay as a advisor for the Seahawks because he brings such good energy to a franchise. And, I do think he has a good eye for certain positions and talent that, he's good at drafting defensive backs. Like, I mean, he just is. He has a good eye for certain things, and I'd love to see him involved. But yeah, I would have kept him as my coach. Yeah. But I'm not. If I'm a different team, I'm not bringing in Pete.
Yeah. So we'd be hard pressed if we didn't have a little Cowboy slander on this episode. So I found this cool little nugget. Tom Brady, who is retired, may I remind everyone, Tom Brady had more playoff wins with the Buccaneers in his 3 seasons there than the Cowboys have had since 1997. So we're just going to keep up the Cowboy slander. Who knows for how long, but you might get another little nugget next episode too, or this might be the last.
And just one question for our Cowboys audience. Are y'all still them boys?
What boys? All right, man, let's get into these championship games, man, because they were good. They were really good. We'll break down the AFC first. 17-10 Chiefs. They're back in the Super Bowl. I hate it, but NFL needs a new Brady. They got it in Patty. This is his 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years and Super Bowl appearance. He's won 2. And I think he's going to win 3, man. I just think so.
I've heard a few Patriot fans on Twitter, and on social media kind of saying they finally get why people hated Brady so much. Yeah. I mean, Mahomes just wins. He didn't have a great team this year. Yeah. And he's still in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, it's like but you know why though, bro? We've had this conversation. Like in the NFL, this is a coaching, profession. In basketball, it's a player because you can put in one player and it can change the whole dynamic. In football, you can't. You got to have the right coach. And in baseball, it's what the manager. You have to have the right manager in order to go and win the World Series. And head coaches are probably the most important position in football besides the QB. Yeah, I mean, and he has a great coach. He's got a great defensive coordinator. I mean, that defense was awesome this year, and they made up. Yeah, they made up for kind of the little bit down year production wise on offense. But man, that guy in the playoffs he just fucking wins. Even Kelsey, he just fucking wins. Even Kelsey, bro. Like Kelsey had a terrible season too. Oh. Damn. Nope. Pardon the interruption. Mike Wilford or Mike Wilbon. All right, and we're back. But man, Kelsey too, bro. He had a terrible. Well, I'm not gonna say terrible. Compared to his numbers and what he's used to producing, he missed 1,000 yards by a few yards for the first time. Right? It was like in 7 or 8 years, something like that. And this dude has been on a tear as well, man. Actually, there's a nice little tidbit about Kelsey in the playoffs, bro. He actually beat Jerry Rice's career record for receptions and I believe yards as well. I'll look that up and I'll put it up on the screen, but he's past Jerry Rice and he's actually played less postseason games than Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice played for 21 seasons? Yeah, but how many postseasons was he in? I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean, but Kelsey's Jerry Rice has all the career stats. So passing somebody like that's pretty incredible. And Kelsey's a tight end, bro. So, for him to be, mentioned with Jerry Rice and, the postseason is phenomenal. Him and Patty are, they're crazy. They're crazy
duo. And they've been together for only 6 years. I think Kelsey was in the league longer than Patty, right? He's been in the league 9 years now, 9 years. Yeah. So, for him to do that with Patty under center and 6 years, the first year Patty didn't even start. He was, he was on the bench behind Alex Smith.
The Alex Smith season, but they were still pretty good with Alex Smith.
Oh yeah.
They were NFC Championship team. I think that was the year. Was that the last time?
It was AFC
Championship. I believe they lost in the AFC Championship with Alex Smith.
Yeah, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl with Smith, but and then Ravens came out sluggish. They're Kansas City, and you mentioned this. Kansas City's defense has actually been probably their best part of their game this season, and they were able to hold the Ravens to 10 points. But they had a lot of mental mistakes. The rookie, you can argue that he had his best game and his worst game because he was phenomenal. I think he had over 100 yards, but he had that crucial fumble. And the kid was trying to make a play, man. You got to give it to him.
That's just a great play by the defense, honestly. Yeah. He's reaching out for the end zone. It's just a great play.
All you had to do was cross that plane just by a little bit from the nose of the football, bro. But the defender was able to. The penalty before the taunting penalty was a stupid penalty. I mean, I see that all the time with DK Metcalf, so nothing surprises me with those taunting penalties. But it kills your team. It does
having stuff like that happen.
But Patty, man, he was great. He threw for 30 out of 39 and 241 yards with a TD. Pacheco, man, he didn't do so hot. He was my lock for our Parlay Boys bet. 62.5 under rushing yards is what I chose under, and he barely hit the over by 68, I think it was. But he was averaging 2.8 yards a carry. But the reason why he hit the over was because they gave him 24 carries, even though he was questionable before the game. And the Ravens had a stellar, run defense, and they just let him hit the over. Unfortunately,
the odds would say you're going to have to get one of these Parlay Boys bets right eventually.
Man,
the law of averages would say you should get one right. Like
for our listeners, Justin, I was fucking phenomenal at picking player props until we started doing the Parlay Boy bet. Bro, I had like a 4-leg parlay I hit one time with just all player props. You even put one in for me. Remember when you forgot to put the DJ Moore receptions over?
I don't recall.
Whatever, man. But I'm gonna hit one of these. We got the Super Bowl. This is where we have to hit a Parlay Boy bet. And it's got to have.
What's crazy is I've been hitting those at like the highest percentage, whatever bet. I've missed a couple, obviously.
You started off rough.
I started off rough for the first couple of weeks, but then since then I've hit almost every single one. Besides, we had 1 week where all four we had a reverse Parlay Boys, where all 4 boys
nobody
missed.
Hit.
So we're approaching what's his name? Book it with Trent status on some of these.
No, we will not throw that out in the world, bro. No, none of that negative energy. We're hitting next week. For the Super Bowl. But let's get back to Lamar here, man, because Lamar, he didn't do so hot, man. It looked like he was in his own head. Like, bro, you can run the ball, and you've proven that you can throw the ball too. You're a great quarterback. But if you have the lane to run, bro, which you had a few lanes, you decided not to take it. And, that rushing, their running backs had 6 carries, I think. Game.
Probably the craziest stat from the game. Yeah, 6 carries by your running backs. I think Gus Edwards 1 carry for 15 yards. What?
I remember there was a play, bro.
What are you doing?
There was a play I remember. I think it was in the third quarter where Lamar had the lane. He started running, but then he slowed down. Then 2 defenders came and blocked his path. But I'm like, bro, if you would have been full speed, you would have got the first down. But it's like you're in your own head. Maybe the coaches told you not to run as much. I don't know what it was, bro, but you got to stick to your game, man. Yeah. And
the moment just feels like it was too big for them. Yeah. Their defense held Kansas City to 17 points. You should be winning.
Yeah.
When your defense holds the other team to 17 points.
Yep.
So,
and I don't think they gave up any points in the second half.
No,
right? The only killer that they had in the second half, because the Ravens defense played phenomenal in the second half. The only thing that killed them was that deep third down conversion for first down to end the game, bro. How are you gonna give up a 30-yard bomb? When you could have stopped them there and got a chance to get the ball back, bro. But that's Patty for you. And he threw it to Marcus Valdez-Scantling, bro, who caught it falling on his back, which is a difficult catch to make. So big ups to him, who was having a terrible season too. But he made that crucial third down catch for the first, and that ended the game.
Yeah, it's a tough loss for the Ravens, but hopefully for their fans, they'll be back. They still got a good team.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to replace some coaching and staff, but they got a good base there.
Yeah, because we got the new Chargers Ravens team. or coaching staff, you can say.
Yeah.
But cool. Before we get to the NFC game, man, we'd be hard pressed not to give you guys a little Raiders slander. And this is kind of an interesting tidbit that we found online. Let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. So obviously the Super Bowl is in Vegas, which means the Raiders Stadium. And I don't know how Mark Davis approved this or if they forced him to do this, but the Chiefs get to practice and prepare for the Super Bowl at the Raiders facility while the 49ers got to practice and prepare at the UNLV facility. That just seems fucking weird. If it was at the Charger Stadium and my division rival was playing there, they would not be practicing at the facility. Fuck no.
As a Seahawks fan, we love to see it.
And as a Charger fan, Raiders, you suck. You got bullied by the Chiefs once again, and you guys aren't even playing right now.
I mean, I think one of the only teams I could have rooted for the Chiefs against is probably the 49ers. I know most NFL fans are probably on the 49ers side, or maybe they're not. I'm not actually sure, but I will never root for the 49ers ever against any team ever.
Yeah.
So go Patty. Get that legacy game for him.
Look, man, I'm not going to say the Niners are going to win. I'm not going to say the Chiefs are going to win. I'm just going to say I'm not betting, against Patty.
Oh, I was like, you're not betting.
I'm not betting against Patty, if that makes sense. But we'll get into the bets here in a little bit. But anyways, NFC game, Lions.
What a fucking game.
Yeah, 34-31, Niners won. Lions were off to a hot start, but what'd they do?
They chargered it. Dan Staley, aka Brandon Campbell. I just some pretty questionable decisions. You can say this is how we got here. We made these decisions, but analytics does not account for momentum. And this is a playoff game. Like I know the numbers are out there. I'll let you go over the numbers for their kicker here in a second. But like for me, that 4th and 2 where they could have kicked the field goal, that was the momentum shift in that game. 49ers went down the field, got a field goal. You match them, you stay up 3 scores, and you just suck the life out of them. 8 minutes are off the clock. The game completely shifted from that moment on, and the Lions were finished. They did not score a point in the second half. I mean, they were so dominant in the first half. And the 49ers escape again. I mean, Packers, Lions,
oh my.
I and it just feeds into what you're saying. Yeah. It feeds into what you're saying. Like, how do you not bet on Mahomes? The 49ers have really escaped both their wins, and whereas the Chiefs have looked like the better team in both their games. And I think
the Chiefs, I feel like they've played the harder teams too, because
you could make an argument.
The Bills and then the Ravens. Man. I know you don't agree. They should have went for the field goal. I low key kind of agree that they should have went for the field goal too, but I get why they didn't. And I only say that because Badgley was on the Chargers, so I know he wasn't the greatest kicker. This dude was like 77% from 40 plus.
He had already hit a 40-something yard field goal at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I know, but if you're under 80% as a field goal kicker, and you got Jared Goff, the best O-line, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs, like you got all these superstars on your offense. That's why he was going for the kill. Because if he would have got the first down, more clock would have been, wasted, and then it would have been their percentage of winning the game would have been a lot higher. But I get it. Now let's play devil's advocate. What if they went for the field goal and they missed the kick too? Still in the same position.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
That their sword was going for it.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's the argument. That's the best argument for him going for it. This is what he did all year. This is how he coached. This is their style. But in the playoffs, I just, like I said, I know analytics is the new thing, but analytics does not. I don't even know
if he was going with analytics. I think he was going more based on who he had on offense versus the percentage that his kicker has. I
don't know exactly what it is, but I can almost guarantee the analytics do say go.
Oh yeah,
there.
Yeah.
But that's again, where I like the old school mentality, man. Take the points. Just it sucks the life out of the other team that we went and finally scored some points, and they just matched
us.
But
it doesn't matter, man. Like it doesn't matter what decision you make. In hindsight, it just because like again, if he would have went for the field goal and missed, oh, why'd you go away from your game plan that got you there? You should have been aggressive. You should have went for the 4th and 2.
Welcome to being a head coach and getting paid millions of dollars. You
exactly.
know? Yeah. You're either the hero or the villain, no matter what.
Yeah. The biggest thing is his players, they got his back. It seems like, yeah, it was a terrible loss, but they'll be back stronger than ever next season. And I'm excited for the Lions, man. They actually, it's good to see teams that have been shitty for a long time, turn the culture around, turn their program around, and be good. So hopefully they can sustain the success moving into next season, the next couple seasons, because they're a fun team to watch, man, especially for fantasy.
Yeah, great fantasy team. I got Laporta for next year. Kia is my keeper. Pretty excited. I traded Travis Kelce for Sam Laporta when the season was falling apart, and there's some people questioned the trade at the time, but I'm feeling pretty good.
The number 1 tight end now, man.
Yeah, Laporta ended the season, I believe, as number 1.
Yeah.
But going back to Dan Campbell, he didn't drop those passes. He didn't.
Reynolds had 2 big ones, bro. One on 3rd down, one on 4th down.
He didn't fumble Gibbs fumble,
bro. And Gibbs, I mean, again, he's a rookie. He didn't have a lot of fumbles this year. Dude was playing out of his mind. Like the moment he got the ball, bro, you could just see how quick of a burst he had. Give me the ball, boom, hitting the holes, hitting the outside. He's a great pass catching back as well, but that fumble was crucial. And again, rookie mistake, just like with Zay Flowers in the AFC game.
Yeah. So Shake, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Actually, so if you recall that kind of circus catch by Ayuk,
off the defender's helmet,
right after, I think that was off of the Gibbs fumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a flag down on that play that was picked up without any explanation.
They just said no foul on the play.
Yeah, no foul, and I find that really interesting. I'm not super into conspiracy type stuff, but I can't help but wonder, was that a pass interference just in case he didn't catch that? I don't know. We don't need to get too deep into it, but it's
something
interesting
for our listeners to think about.
Yeah, there's nothing, it's interesting when flags like that are picked up without any explanation.
Because if Ayuk wouldn't have caught it, pass interference. Now it's
pass interference. And it would have been an interception.
Kind of like the Patty game back, who was it against the Jets, remember? It's like, if they didn't catch the interception, it would have been holding, or vice versa.
Stuff to pay attention to when you have money on the game.
Exactly. Vegas called. But anyways, Niners, they've made it. It's they've had a little rough last 2 seasons. 3 seasons, I guess you could say. Jimmy overthrowing I think it was Emmanuel Sanders in that Super Bowl, and then Brock Purdy getting hurt last year, and they had to have CMC as a QB. So I mean, it's led up to them to get to the Super Bowl. And if they don't win this one, though, I think I'm not going to say their window's closed, because obviously they got Kyle Shanahan, and we'll see how Brock Purdy continues to do, even though he's proven the doubters wrong. But this is a Chiefs team that their offense isn't the greatest right now, so you got to capitalize if you guys want to win. But I just don't see them beating Patty.
Little side note here. Speaking of Christian McCaffrey to throw a touchdown, if any of our viewers know where to get action on Christian McCaffrey throwing a touchdown in the Super Bowl, I am looking to bet
a little Philly special action.
I don't know what the odds would be.
He throws it to Brock Purdy, bro.
Yeah, little Christian McCaffrey, freaking Statue of Liberty or something.
You know what would be crazy if he threw it to an offensive lineman like Trent Williams, bro.
And then it was called back because he didn't report as eligible.
He didn't check in with the ref. Damn shit! Think about my chair. Anyways,
you just got even shorter.
Yeah,
what happened there?
Yeah. All right, man. So let's get into our Parlay Boy Bets. So if you follow us on TikTok, we posted a video explaining what the Parlay Boys Bet is. And for those who didn't watch it, let me just give you a quick rundown of what it is. You could do this with your friends. So basically, if you have 3, 4, 5 people, you each pick one leg, right? So in this case, we had 4. So we had a 4-leg player prop parlay, and it doesn't have to be player props. It could be the game, the over under, whatever you want it to be. But everybody puts in a certain amount of money. For us, it's a $25 bet per leg. So it was a $100 bet. And if we hit, right, it's over $1,000 usually. But if one person doesn't hit, but the rest do, that one person then has to cover the bets for everybody next week. But if 2 or more people miss, then it's a wash. It is what it is. But it's a fun little thing to do where you're only basically betting your leg, but you can come up big wins. We still haven't won one. We've done it 6 times now, I think, but we got one last chance. Well, actually, yeah, we got one last chance. We might do a Pro Bowl one this weekend. Justin's not really a big fan of betting the Pro Bowl, but our last real one is going to be for the Super Bowl. So do it with your friends, guys. It's fun. We went 2 for 2 again. I talked a little bit about Pacheco, the under. That was a pain because they gave him 24 carries, but whatever. And then the other one that we barely missed was Jameson Williams from the Lions, 28.5.
How did my leg do?
You
won.
Remember? You won. Yeah. Whatever. I don't know.
What was it? Plus 4.5 catches. Laporte had like 9 catches, something like that. I think he cleared it in the first half.
Cleared it. Yeah, that's yeah. And you know what, bro? I hit a bet. I hit the Lamar total, or the Lamar over on his total yards, so including his rushing and his passing at 282.5. I picked the over, and that's what I wanted to do for the Parlay Boys bet, but I talked myself out of it and went Pacheco under just because the Ravens defense was stout.
Let me guess.
He was banged up.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. A little inside joke. I was gonna
do this.
Let me guess.
You were gonna make that bet. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and then I had a free $100 bonus for from DraftKings, and I ended up betting that on Isaiah Likely. I had to go big. That one missed. That one hurt. It was plus 330. I didn't think Mark Andrews was gonna, be, full. They weren't going to give him a full snap count.
He had 2 catches. I mean, you were right. Yeah. He only had like 2 catches that I saw.
And there was a play that Lamar threw it to Likely in the end zone, but that's when it got intercepted. But there was also pass interference on that play. If you really pay attention to it, they should have threw a flag, but whatever. He had his chance to catch the ball, but Lamar didn't throw it correctly. But anyways, what are some bets for the weekend? Let's get into some bets.
Oh man, maybe a little golf action.
I love me some this golf season,
so
baby.
We gotta wait. We as you can see here, are fans of the Waste Management tour, which is coming up. We got to go last year,
February 9th through the 12th, I think.
Yeah, when the Super Bowl was in Glendale, we got to kind of double dip, and it was a good time. I had never been to a golf tournament, so if you think golf is boring to watch, I highly recommend checking out Waste Management.
They call that the tour of the people, because people were fucking blacked out at like 10 a.m.
The People's Open. Yeah, people wait for hours to get into the grandstand on what hole is it?
It's a hole 16, which is the loudest hole in golf. We didn't get a chance to go to hole 16 because people show up at like 4 or 5 in the morning waiting just to run in there and get a seat. But we did walk by it. It was an amazing setup. It's like a horseshoe, right, on the hole 16. And there's clips, there's videos on TikTok and stuff. Like there's a couple golfers that hit hole in one and people just start throwing beer in the air and going fucking crazy. We saw people blacked out asleep on the grass at like 10 a.m. That's when we showed up. We were a little drunk, or hungover, I should say, from the night before. But yeah, Arizona's it's a vibe.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I am taking Xander Schauffele. I don't know if I'm saying that. Schauffele.
Schaefer, isn't it? Or is it?
I believe it's pronounced Schauffele.
Schauffele.
But I did Google it before we got on this podcast. Yeah. So if Google led me astray, I apologize. Plus 1,200 to win.
Damn.
So that is going to be my action. I might put a little bit on John Rahm as well.
Nobody's better than John Rahm in the maroon.
Maroon is a great color, and if I see him wearing maroon, I might have to double down on any bets. I believe John Rahm's he's the favorite to win at plus 700 I checked.
Shout out to our boy Josh's homie Garrett. John Rahm, no one's better. Little inside joke, which we'll explain probably next week's episode. It's a funny little story. We might have some video.
Oh, we might have some video in the archive.
Put a little, yeah. We might have to show the video.
We're gonna need to screen that video first before we put it on the air.
All right, man. So for me, I'm gonna go with this weekend's tour. It's the AT&T tour. I believe it's Pebble Beach. I'm gonna go with Colin Morikawa. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but I love this kid. He's young. He's in his early to mid 20s, I believe. And I'm betting him to make the top 5. He's at plus 400. And I'm going to ride the hot hand. Nick Dunlap, he is the first rookie, or the first amateur, I should say, in over 30 years to win a PGA Tour, which he won last weekend. And I'm going to bet him to make the top 10 at plus 900. And I guess we can give our opinions about the Super Bowl, but we'll make our Super Bowl bets next week's episode. But again, I mentioned it earlier. I'm not going to bet against Patty. I've learned my lesson. I bet against Brady for years and lost. And so I'm going to learn my own lesson and not bet against Patty. So give me the Chiefs at plus money line. And I think they covered too. So I might do a 2-leg parlay, but we'll see once we get closer to Super Bowl. But they are plus money right now, which is phenomenal when you got Patty under center.
Yeah, I might look at buying 1 point and taking it to +3. I'm watching the line closely. If it gets
at 2 right now, right?
It's at +2 right now. If it gets up to 3, I'm gonna absolutely hammer that. I might even buy. I don't buy points very often, but this might be the time. Even if they lose, it's hard to imagine them losing by more than a field goal. Yeah. It just feels like it. You know, you never know what's going to happen, but it feels like it has to be a close game, even if lost. And then hopefully it is. Hopefully we have a good Super Bowl. Last year was awesome, so I hope we have another.
We'll tell you guys a couple of great stories from last year's Super Bowl that we won't get into now because we're running out of time here. But we got a phenomenal story about Kenneth Gainwell, which we'll mention next episode. But before we get out of here, guys,
did you use the word phenomenal for that story?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't phenomenal.
We'll save it, but it is not a phenomenal story.
It's phenomenal in the sense of how heartbreaking it is.
Yeah.
All right. Like we're setting it up to be a good story. But anyways, guys, before we get out of here, we're going to start this new segment at the end of each show. For all the degens out there, if you hit a crazy bet, like a super big underdog or like a crazy parlay, send us a screenshot through Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or you can email us. Or put it in the comments as well, and we'll go ahead and shout you out because we always love hearing those crazy parlays that people hit, a 7-legger, or even if it's like a 3-legger but all underdogs, something crazy. Send it our way. We'll shout you guys out. And thanks again for listening to the show, guys. Happy birthday to my mama. It was her birthday a couple days ago, so happy birthday, mama. Happy birthday, Danny. It was his birthday 2 days ago. He's the one who spread my cheeks in fantasy. And for those who listened to the episode last week, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks again for listening, guys. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, YouTube if you're watching us, and if you're listening to us, streaming services. So thanks, guys.
See you guys next week.
Episode 4 coming up. Bolt up.